Hey, this is Foxy. It's amazing what you can do with rubber bands and a pencil. Got a little camera mount. I'll sell them soon. You can join my Patreon. Okay, so here we are with Canadian Burley. Okay, I'm stripping off the main stem. Okay, once you get the main stem out, you're pretty much good to go. If you have, if they're too dry, this will crumble up into a powder. You don't want that to happen. What you want to do is you want to try to maintain some level of moisture in the leaves. I have the leaves stored in the original bags in a large plastic container with some damp paper towels, so that way it creates almost like a humidor in there, and the amount of moisture that was in the leaves when they were sent to me from the Whole Leaf Tobacco Company, the amount of moisture in the leaves was sufficient. They asked that you inspect the product, and if there's any extra moisture, you knock it off, because you can see sometimes you get spots on the leaves where there was extra moisture. That's the beginning of a mold. You don't want any of that to run rampant throughout your tobacco supply, but you do want them kind of moist. Now, if they're too dry, you can add more moisture into the bag itself by spraying the individual leaves, but I don't see that as necessary. What I do is I try to make sure that the leaves are supple enough not to turn into powder when they go through the grinding process. After that, I stick them in a humidor, and it brings them back brings back the tobacco itself to a level that I like. I always know that it's right as if the cigarette goes out when I don't smoke it. More like a cigar. So I'm going through the two different types of leaves. This one here is the Virginia Flue Smoked. This one actually gets more spots on it if you're not careful. This one here is the Canadian Burley. Now, the Canadian Burley is so nasty, I think, with its strength, that even the mold don't want to get it, because I haven't seen a moldy piece of Canadian Burley yet, whereas the Virginia Flue Smoked, if you're not careful with the extra moisture, you start getting some spots. So I take out the bigger of the smaller stems as well. And like I said, everything gets saved. It's all going to either be a sacrifice, or you could probably make a bug spray for plants and whatnot too, because nicotinoids or something like that are a major component in a lot of pesticides. I'm not saying it's good for anything. It's a poison. But if you make a tea and dilute it, you can spray, say, a plant that has aphids. And I'm not saying spray it liberally on all your stuff. I'm saying if you have some aphids or something, you make a tea out of this, give it a spray, see how it works. Well, anyway, so here we go. We're into the grinding, shredding stage. Okay? So now I have to also make sure each time I pick up a handful of this that it doesn't have a stem in it that's too big, because if the stem gets jammed in these teeth, it becomes very difficult to turn, for one thing, but it actually leaves a piece in there that's almost impossible to get out. It takes forever for it to work its way free. And so not only is it hard to get through, but it'll make your next 10 times doing it hard too. So you're better off taking your time, getting all the major stems out. Look, here's a hidden one. See, they hide. If that got stuck in there, here we go. So you take a little pile, and you don't jam them in there. You just kind of hold them on there. You can sing all around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. I don't know the other words to the song. Pop goes the weasel. There we go. So there's what we got. Perfect shredded tobacco for cigarette size. Now I had another shredder that was really cheap, and it was so cheap that it wasn't stainless steel like this one. It was some sort of cheap alloy, and even if you got a little too much tobacco in the teeth, it was hard to turn because the teeth were wider as well. And then when it got stuck, I would have to turn it hard, and the whole thing just kind of like imploded on me. It bent up into like a little pretzel from just the extra torque from my own hands. I don't know my own strength, you know. My dad said, just snug it. Don't rip it off, just snug it. So you just keep feeding this in here without pressing down too hard. Because you see I just pressed down a little bit and made it harder to turn. But it'll actually pull itself in. Meaning that if you're stupid enough to stick your finger in there, it will pull it in a little bit. Okay, now my fingers are so fat that all they'll do is bite the tip of my finger. If you have like a little kid or something helping you, which you know might be questionable because it's tobacco, but it is a plant and it is from God, and you use it with respect, I think everything's fine. If you're going to use it, why take all those extra chemicals, man? I think the chemicals are just as addictive as the rest of the plant itself, because when I first switched to whole leaf tobacco, shredding it myself, I had to actually smoke a cigarette every once in a while. So evidently there was something I was addicted to that wasn't tobacco. Okay? And we know how they like to try to fool us and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So, sometimes something that might be seen as unhealthy might be made unhealthy. Now, I'm not saying smoking is good for you by any means, but there has been talk that smoking might help with like a mold problem that might be going on in your sinuses, maybe even lungs. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that nice? Now the funny thing is, you get these little extra bigger pieces here. As soon as you go to roll a cigarette, they're always in your hand. There's like 4 or 5 of them in the whole pile, but every time you reach in there, you're going to get one. Okay, so what I do is I take them to the side. And I just pop them back in there one more time. Easy peasy. Yeah. Unfortunately, yes, I did watch Rachel Ray. Long time ago. So here we are. This is actually a gift. I have a little cigar box that I keep moist on the inside. It acts as a humidor. I try to only grind up 2 or 3 days at a time, because why bother with the whole process of keeping it moist when it only takes a minute to grind to begin with. So this is all a gift for a friend. That should be enough for a pack of smokes, we'll say, huh? There we go. And that's the end of that. Have a nice day.